in a graveyard, but it's not for aesthetic reasons. It's just generally like graveyards don't get used very often. Like there's literally bunny rabbits like owning this place sort of thing. It's just where I go quite often because they're beautiful places. I feel like they're very reflective places. I have to reflect about Bruno Mars today, so I think it's a really good place to do that. So basically, I often think about the way music is released. I think we live in a time where fame is very fleeting. Like I think because of TikTok, and people demand lots of output from their favorite artists, and you know, it's that release of dopamine, and like it's everything should be accessible all the time, and like people do that about music. And I think Taylor Swift, you know, obviously currently in the last couple of years, how many albums she released? Like 4, like in 2 years. Is that true? Yeah, four albums last 2 years. And she's like, I always call her like the mass producer like of songs. I'm not saying she runs the music industry, but I'm saying currently she, you know, she's big up there. And I'm not saying that having a lot of output is bad, because I love the Tortured Poets Department and the double release album. I think it's great. And I think on my way home, I don't love Tortured Poets Department. I think it's too fucking long. And I also love A.G. Cook did like a 49 song album, and I think it's great, and it's a brilliant thing for different artists to do things differently. Like, you know, there's a method to the madness, and it can't all be done the same. So that's a great thing. But like, I've got this deep appreciation for more refined bodies of work, and I think there's loads of examples where legendary, like iconic, long-lasting, timeless music is made when there's more time, when there's less output, and there's like maybe a deeper consideration into singular songs, and having a smaller discography can actually be very beneficial. The first person that I ever realised this with was Bruno Mars. One day I just looked at his discography, the 14-year career with 4 albums, and to think of how much of a mainstream success, and that is a household name, and you know, great songs, really good songs. And his first album has songs such as Just the Way You Are, Grenade, The Lazy Song, Marry You, Runaway Baby, Talking to the Moon, and that's all on his first album. There was a Lewis Capaldi documentary, and it was like, you have your whole lifetime to make your first album, and then you have however long the record label gives you after that to make the next one. But to have that first album be so successful and have such a strong radio presence, you know, set him up for his whole career sort of thing. But it's that idea of giving more time for songs to be classics. I heard a statistic about ABBA, and that if you look at their whole discography, they only released about 37 minutes of music per year, but because they spent so much time on the songs, they're all classics. Like I think ABBA have amazing songs. ABBA are amazing, and the less push to get it out as you get now, you know, you need to keep releasing to stay relevant sort of thing. And another way that a short discography appears is through artists that have died. So obviously there's the 27th Club of Amy Winehouse, who only released 2 albums while she was alive, and then you've got, you know, obviously Nirvana. They actually had a pretty long run, and that was pretty fast. And these are classic artists, these are classic albums, because does death and a finite end help the art become legendary? Maybe because of the tragedy, but also just because of the don't live long enough to see yourself become the villain sort of thing. So this music ages very nicely. And then one of my favourite bands, My Chemical Romance, they ended their band at one of their peaks of success. You know, they only had released 4 albums before they broke up, and Jared Way often says that he only saw it being a 3-album run. Like, there was a conclusive end because for things to be perfect, there has to be an end. If you keep going and you keep going, you know, it ruins it a lot of the time. I mean, people get that in TV series a lot, you know, when they're like, they didn't need that season, you know. It just feels like a money grab a lot of the time. And another way that you can see this reflected in like present day music release is that people have shorter songs now, because the way getting money from Spotify or any of the streaming platforms is that you get money the amount of times the song is played. So if you have a shorter song, you'll get more plays and therefore more money. So release music focused on the time that you're in, you know, it'll benefit you at the time. The longevity might not hold up because the art's bending to the way you want it to be perceived at the time. Having this narrative structure to a body of art is something that I really enjoy seeing, and you can lose it a lot now.